Hey, America, can we talk? It's easy to lose sight of what's important in times of crisis. For many of us, our priorities have changed as a result of COVID 19. Most of us are in survival mode, whether it's surviving the coronavirus itself or withstanding the social and economic hits we are all experiencing as a result of this pandemic. So, asking you to think about the next year, let alone the next 10 years, seems like a fool's errand. Yet that's exactly what's required of us at this very moment. April 1st is Census Day. The United States Census is a decennial count mandated by Article 1, Section 2 of the United States Constitution. And we as citizens are mandated by constitutional law to respond. So much of our lives hinges upon this single questionnaire, which makes it one of the most important civic duties we possess outside of voting and paying taxes, of course. So consider all of the ways in which the federal government uses census data to shape policy that in turn affects our daily lives. For starters, your state's representation in federal government is determined by the census population counts. Even state and local voting district boundaries are drawn based on census results to ensure that one person has only one vote. Likewise, funding to fulfill those annoying potholes in your neighborhood or that new highway that cuts down your commute time is largely determined by census data. Importantly, school meals for kids that many families are still relying on now, even as school has been suspended, is made possible only through an accurate tally of those students in greatest need. Not to mention the possibility of school at all, be it college or K through 12, where the accessibility to education is only realized by some through federal Pell and Title I grants. So our participation in the census ensures opportunity for young people even before they enter the education system. Support from the census extends across generations and abilities as well. You or your parents and grandparents might rely on or utilize government programs that receive funding based on the census count. Likewise, those with mental and physical disabilities count on being counted for assistance. And if you're not elderly or disabled, you at least look forward to the promise of growing old and having a safety net in place to meet the needs of your aging body in the event that you are no longer able to provide for yourself. So your future Social Security payouts, my future Social Security payouts, will be determined by today's demographic data. Public assistance programs like SNAP and subsidized housing and Medicaid are allocated in accordance with census numbers. And speaking of Medicaid and healthcare in general, considering the times we're in, being certain that you are counted to ensure that your community gets its fair share of federal funds dedicated to building and improving and maintaining hospitals and federally funded clinics is critical right now. To that end, public health disasters like COVID-19 require emergency response and aid like the CARES Act that the government just passed, and population data helps meet that need. Similarly, demographic details from the census assist epidemiologists and public health personnel like myself in everything from tracking disease outbreaks like the current coronavirus pandemic to combating the opioid epidemic. Simply put, the COVID-19 response or lack thereof that you are currently witnessing in your communities is likely a direct result of census data collected in 2010. So ask yourself, how do I feel about that response? Has it been adequate? Is it culturally sensitive and socially responsible to my community? Now is the time to make your voice heard by making sure your voice is counted. By now, you should have received official Census Bureau mail with detailed information, including a 12-digit code unique to your household that you use to respond to the 2020 census either online, by mail, or by phone. It's the first time in the history of the census that you can respond without having to meet face-to-face with the census taker. So there really is no excuse for not completing the questionnaire. Just be sure that you respond according to where you live as of the April 1st, 2020 Census Day, and include everyone who usually lives and sleeps in your home. You have until August 14th to get that done, but you're encouraged to respond as soon as possible so that census takers can focus their efforts on harder to reach populations, including college students who normally live on campus but who are home right now, incarcerated citizens and residents of nursing and group homes who may have been displaced by the coronavirus measures, and other populations like the housing insecure who are usually counted through in-person visits that were set to begin in early April but no longer will due to the COVID-19 social distancing restrictions. Listen, there's never been more power in 10 minutes to change the next 10 years than there is right now. The call has already been made. All you have to do is answer. And when you do, remember that we all used to be somebody else. What's most important is that we're always working to be better today than we were yesterday. You be the cure you wish to see in the world. And be counted by visiting www.2020census.gov. Peace and blessings.